Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Apples and Genos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Nate Niblink. I'm the creator of Apples and Genos, originator of the Zergy Draft Strategy. And in this podcast, Blake and I are going to give you all of the best streamers and ad options for next week so you can start planning early. Let's get it. And of course, I have your friend and my best friend, my crony who's never phony, Blake Creamer. Blake, how are we feeling tonight?
Never phony, eating baloney. Oh, yeah. What the hell is baloney anyway? And why is it spelled Bologna? None of this makes any sense to me. Nate, do you have an answer for this?
No, you've touched upon some of the greatest mysteries known to man. So, yeah.
It's profound. Buddy, I'm feeling really good. As you know, oh, man, things are popping off in certain leagues here. I'm in my playoffs, right? You're in your playoffs. We're having a great time. All right. Well, some of us are. Yeah, first off, fantasy hockey giveth and it taketh away. And then sometimes it giveth again. And that's what's going on here. I just want to shout out some of these legends that are popping off tonight. Ryan Donato, hat trick. Shout us out in the comments if this man is hooking you up. B for Sherwood. What was this man doing tonight? My God. I mean, he's going to get tested for PEDs tomorrow, right? He's going nuts. That would be awesome. Actually, let us know in the comments, anybody that's really getting you going, keeping you in your fantasy matchups, winning your matchups. I'd love to hear that. But buddy, I'm stoked. I'm happy. Things are going well. How are you doing, my man?
Doing all right. I've got one matchup that is very decidedly over and not in my favor. He's having the week of his life. I'm having one of the worst weeks of my life, and that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And then in Kickuffle in Tier 1, the projection is like a point apart. No, it's less than a point, less than half a point in the live projection there. I had a big games played lead, and that has gone for naught. But yeah, we could still win it. It's going to be tight to the end. His team has Nylander, Kucherov, Makar, so you can imagine how that's going. But yeah, hopefully we have a good update when we reconvene on Sunday. But Blake, we got to get this thing started. We got to kick it off with some Newsies.
Newsies. Oh, yeah. We got to talk about the news, folks. It's here, and we're ready to do it. Let's get the biz. Thomas the Turtle Hurdle and Alex Pietrangelo not playing Friday or Saturday night. That's confirmed as they both continue to recover from their respective injuries. So, yeah, it's Wild Bill, William Karlsson looking to be the beneficiary there on the power play with Hurdle out on power play 1. So something to consider if you want to go that way. But, I mean, if you didn't pick him up for the Friday game, I don't really like a one-game stream of William Karlsson. That doesn't sound like a good idea, but I don't know. To each their own. Moving over to St. Louis, Pavel Buchnevich, return of Buchnevich. That sounds like a movie I don't want to watch. Yeah, it sounds like he's going to return to the Blues lineup for their game on Saturday night, which is really good. He's missed the last 4 with an illness, so the sniffles are gone. Booch is ready to go. We're getting the biz there. Connor Zary with the Flames had a scary injury the other night after colliding with Mikko Rantanen, that bruiser, that brute. He basically just folded Connor Zary over for some reason, and it's the same knee that he injured in January as well. So the good news is that Connor Zary's knee isn't broken, but they're still doing some imaging with more info to come. So, yeah, just keep an eye out there. I don't think he's going to be back anytime soon. In Columbus, Cole Sillinger returned to the team tonight. Got an assist, pretty nice, but third-line power play 2, really, really, really deep option. All right, deep league option if you're looking to Cole Sillinger. Over to Minnesota, they're rolling with a 5-forward power play right now, which is an interesting look. They got Frederick Gaudreau, Matt Boldy, the Zucchini Man, Marcus Johansson, Nate's favorite player, and Marco Rossi all on the top power play there. Not too bad, not too shabby. So we'll see if Minnesota can actually put more than 2 goals on the board here in the next game. That'd be really nice, guys. Help us out. Actually, I don't even know how many they scored last game. That could be totally inaccurate. Nate, don't fact check me on this.
Okay.
I
I
appreciate that. Yeah,
will
don't don't
refrain.
don't do that. Okay. Um, Luke Hughes for the Devils missed the game here on Friday, which is really a tough one because he took the warm up. So this is kind of like what Victor Hedman did like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. Really sucks for fantasy. Obviously, they don't give a damn about our fantasy teams. That's apparent. But yeah, if you had Luke Hughes, you took an L here tonight. That really stinks. So we don't have any real info on what the issue might be. It could be precautionary, but they have a game Saturday, the Devils. So we're going to have to check his status. We don't have any info on what's going on there. Just consider him day-to-day for now and check out what's going on. With him out, they ran a 5-forward power play as well. It's the in thing to do in the league here, Nate. 5 forwards on the power play. Pretty damn nice. So they had Jesper Bratt on the point. Nico Hischier, Timo Meyer, Dawson Mercer, and Stefan Nason made his way back on the power play one, and that's what they were doing. So we'll see if that sticks. I would expect it to stick if Luke Hughes is not in the lineup on Saturday. Okay. Over to Detroit, the spicy tendies they got going on there. Peter Mrazek and Cam Talbot both nursing injuries. Sounds like Talbot was okay to back up on Thursday while Alex Lyon got the start. I mean, things are kind of falling off the rails there in Detroit, aren't they, Nate?
It's not great. Yeah, it's hard when you don't have any goalies that you feel like you can trust, but they're 3-7 in their last 10.
Yep.
They got to turn this thing around quick if they want to make the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, their big success early on in the year was because these goalies were standing on their heads, right, and really outplaying the environment, and that's kind of come home to roost. And now they're getting caved in. So there you go. But Mrazek was getting volume, but there's still been no update there. So keep an eye on that. I think the starter in Detroit is we're still looking at that, but with 3 goalies there, kind of as options, it's going to be risky bisky to me. I think I'd like to see, or I'd probably go a different way if I'm looking at goalies, but I always like a team that's still in the mix for the playoffs. They have something to play for, so they're going to be leaving it all out there on the ice. So something to think about. Over in Edmonton, Matthias Ekholm and Stuart Skinner. They missed Thursday's game. Ekholm's injury is undisclosed, so we don't know what's going on there. It sounds like potentially just missed a game for maintenance, so we'll see if that's the case, if he comes back next game here. While Stu Skinner took a knee to the head, courtesy of Mikko Rantanen. Again, Mikko Rantanen, what the hell's going on here? The guy, you need him in the head. What is it? Who does he think he is? Saget from Street Fighter? Did you ever play Street Fighter 2, Nate? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like once at a friend's house.
Oh, what? That's all right. You know what? We'll debrief that offline. That's one of the greatest games ever, Nate. Shout us out in the comments if you think Nate should immediately get a video game emulator and be playing Street Fighter 2. All right, that's probably something you should do, Nate. All right. All right. He's at a loss for words, folks, and he should be. Okay. Gabe Velarde of the Winnipeg Jets. He's week to week with an uppy body injury. Probably unlikely we're going to see him before week 25. So Alex Iafallo, he's your Huckleberry on power play 1, popped for a couple of goals here on Friday. So I don't know. You could do worse. He's try eligible on Yahoo. I mean, I don't know. A deep league option for sure. He's getting power play 1, and that's not nothing. So especially with that wagon of a team the Jets are. And lastly, Colton Parayko in St. Louis. He's skating and traveling with the team on their current road trip, which ends in Colorado on Saturday. So just a piece of information for you. He's basically scheduled to return maybe mid-April, but there's a chance he comes back earlier. So keep an eye on his status. He can do stuff for you if he's in the lineup. But that's it, buddy. That's it for the news. We got to get the biz. We got a bunch of stuff to go off of here. We got to attack that schedule.
Let's do it. Let's attack the schedule. Monday, we have 4 games. Tuesday, we have 10 games. Wednesday, 5 games. Thursday, 9 games. Friday, 3 games. Saturday, we have 13 games. And Sunday, we have 8 games, 52 games total. Another normal week for us in that regard. They have 2 teams that play on Monday, Tuesday back-to-back to open the week. So the 4-game Monday and the 10-game Tuesday. That's Calgary, Nashville. So if you're looking to jump out to an early games played lead, you can look at players from those teams. 3 teams with Monday, Wednesday to open the week. Colorado, Minnesota, and Seattle. 4 teams with Wednesday, Friday off nights. Carolina, Chicago, Minnesota, Washington. 5 teams with Friday, Sunday off nights: Chicago, Detroit, Minnesota, New York Islanders, and Washington Capitals. So it's a pretty solid streaming week, but there aren't very many full week options. There are lots of choices in week. It's a heavy Saturday, but there are 5 Friday, Sunday options around it, which is pretty nice, all things considered, especially with the 3-game Friday. That's actually quite nice. So it definitely could have been worse. It might be tough to find somebody to hold the entire week through if Minnesota's guys are all gone, but it's definitely a week where you can get something done. Anything to add on the schedule, Blake?
Not too much. Something I like to do in weeks like this, and we've talked about this before, but sort of splitting it up, right? Like try and get one thing I like to do is look at teams that have 3 games in the first 4 nights, and there is actually a couple of them. Like Nashville does that, Colorado does that, Calgary does that, right? So you can pick up a team like that, a player, get 3 games in 4 nights, and then maybe look at a Friday Sunday team for your second ad. That's 5 games, 2 ads, pretty damn nice. I don't know. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, obviously, if you can fit them in on the heavy nights, then you can kind of expand what you're able to do there. So take a look for yourself. All right, Blake, let's lower some expectations.
You bet, buddy. Let's look at some teams here. I think in a week like this, and we've talked about this before too, Nate, but when you have heavy nights that aren't that heavy, like we have a 10-game Tuesday, a 9-game Thursday, and we do have a heavy Saturday, which is 13 games, but the Tuesday and Thursday are in play, in my opinion. So when we have weeks like this, I think we're looking at teams that play the most games, right? That play 4 games as opposed to teams that play 2 games. So what we're talking about here is teams that play 2 games, right? And these are the worst teams for this upcoming week here. And they are the New Jersey Devils, the New York Rangers, Philadelphia Flyers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. All play 2 games with 1 off night. And it is worth noting that New Jersey and Philadelphia both play on the Monday night. So if you're looking at dropping some streamers, you probably want to hold your New Jersey and your Philadelphia players until after Monday. Then you can then you can drop and add another player at that point. That's just common sense, right, Nate?
That would be common sense. Also worth noting, all 4 of these teams with the 2-game, 1 off night schedule, they all play on the super heavy Saturday, so pretty much guaranteed that's a night you'll be looking to remove somebody from anyway.
Yeah. And this is going to be interesting because this could be your finals week. If you're in week 24 and that's your finals, I mean, all bets are off, right? You're dropping, like, we're going to talk about these players here, but I don't think there's a lot of players that you're really going to hold on the heavy Saturday here. And we'll talk about that. Let's start with New Jersey. So right off the bat, we're looking at Luke Hughes. But obviously he's injured right now. So hopefully you can just pop him into your IR plus and, or maybe he plays for you next game and then you get the Monday out of him. Then I'd definitely be dropping Luke Hughes. Stefan Nason, Brendan Dillon for Bangers Leagues, Dawson Mercer. These guys are all gone, in my opinion. Any other thing to add there? Other thing to add? That's terrible. Anything else to add there, Nate?
Yeah, Luke Hughes is the only guy that you would think twice about dropping, but I agree. After the Monday, he's gone pretty much every league.
Yep, absolutely. Makes sense to me. Let's move over to New York, the Rangers here. And yeah, this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting because you got players with some name cachet. They got cachet, baby. They got cachet out the yin yang. Okay. Vinny Tro. I mean, are we dropping Vinny Tro? Maybe, right? You got Mika Zibanejad. He's probably most definitely a drop, although he did score a PPG tonight, and I have him in 2 spots. Buddy, you're a damn legend with a beautiful head of hair. Chris Kreider, Chicken Necks, Alexis Lafreniere, Will Cooley. Anybody here that you would hold for the entire week, Nate?
I mean, it never feels good to drop a player of Trocheck's caliber, but he's ice cold at the moment. The underlying numbers are truly atrocious. Really, you're just saying, hey, this guy is still on the Panarin line, and this guy is still on the power play, and therefore he should be good. But that's not enough at this stage of the season in my mind, so I am fully content to let Trocheck go. Zibanejad, I think I've been pretty vocal throughout the season. I don't think that we should expect him to go back to the Zibanejad of old at any point. Kreider has had a terrible season, doesn't really appear to be fixing that in any way. Lafreniere's underlying stats look horrific over the last little bit. Cooley in a bangers just because his hits are so insane is a tough guy to drop, but again, I think just the games played, there's going to be other bangers options you can go for. So across the board, I think if you are looking at it and you are trying to free up some games played and free up some games played on the Saturday in particular that the Rangers play, I think all of these guys are in play to be dropped.
Yeah, this is an interesting conversation. This is a little bit off topic, but buddy, do we still have that Vinny Trode sound drop? Is that in one of our things here?
I'm Vincent Trocek from the New York Rangers, and you're listening to the Apples and Geno's Fantasy Hockey Podcast.
I'm slightly aroused right now. Nate, damn it. Oh my God. We need to do that at the beginning of every pod. I mean, whatever. Obviously, Vinny Tro is a big time friend of the show, right? Nate, we've gotten together with Vinny Tro before. We've all crossed the streams together. He knows what's up, right? I mean, that's a story for another time, but yeah.
Yeah, you might want to save that story.
Yeah, exactly. But we should do it live. Anyways, that's an open invite to Vinny Tro, buddy. We do that. All right, we'll do it live. I don't care. Okay. Anyways, so good conversation there about some of the really good New York Ranger players. We're looking at dropping potentially, right? Especially if it's your finals. Even if it's not, right? Like I've done some interesting things this week just to try and win the week. I'm dropping players like, well, I'll get into it. I don't need to get into all my strategies. Anyways, let's move on to another team here. Philadelphia Flyers, like I said, they played the Monday as well. So, I mean, anybody not named Travis Konechny, like, I mean, it's kind of the same as New Jersey. So you got Konechny, you got Tippett, you got Travis Sanheim, you got Matvei Michkov. I think you're probably holding those guys until Monday, and then I'm likely dropping all of them. What are you doing with them?
Yeah, same thing. I think you get them in for the Monday, you see what you can get out of them, and then you let them go. I mean, Sanheim and Tippett, I would even let go before that. Tippett has 12 and a half minutes average time on ice the last 5 games. He has just fallen off the face of the planet this year. Even in this last game without Tortorella in the building, he was still only 13:02 ice time, so didn't get better at first blush with the new coach. Something you can monitor, but yeah, really rough stuff. Obviously, you can't drop Konechny because he can go off for like 3 points in any one of these games. Michkov, you could argue, has some of that similar upside. He did get 20 plus minutes in that game.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
I would love to hang on to Michkov, but again, if it's a spot where you're looking at it and you're like, man, I can get 3 games in between the Monday and the Saturday here for Michkov, and he is at least in play or he's similar to some of the other players who I can play on Saturday, and he's not like a clear tier above the other players that I'm going to play on Saturday, then I think it makes sense. You can drop him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so weird to think about what might have been if Torts wasn't there. I mean, I know we like to, Torts is the whipping boy here, and he's an easy target, but what the hell was he doing with Michkov this year? And what is he doing currently with Owen Tippett? I mean, my God, this is a 60-point player with crazy bangs, and he's getting 12 minutes a night. I don't get it. But, yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, the Torts news, I was happy to see it. It makes sense, right? It's certainly good for fantasy, in my opinion. And hopefully that this team is able to take what Torts was bringing to the table and use that moving forward, right? Which is work ethic, right? He really had this Flyers team cooking in terms of their work ethic. It's just everything else stunk. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
It was obviously a really bad situation for fantasy. I am unconvinced that it's a good situation for players. Like on 32 Thoughts, they were talking about how it was so great that Michkov was like learning from Torts the right way how to play hockey, and like I'm not even convinced about that. Like this is a guy who came from the KHL and he was like benched and scratched, and they did the same stuff to him over there, and this is like you have a greyhound just sitting in the lobby. Like you're not even letting him on the racetrack. It's not like you're just holding him back and not letting him run. You're literally not letting him be on the racetrack. Like why do you have this greyhound if you're not going to let him loose? Doesn't make any sense to me. I am very interested to see what the coaching situation is like for next year. Michkov, to me, if he gets a 20-minute a night treatment next year, it's 90 plus points. I can see it.
Bang. Right, I love that. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. This team is 19th overall in goals for. And like you said, you got this guy in the stable. Like, just open the gate. What are you doing? Oh, God. Yeah, this will be a good data point for Matvei Michkov, though, rest of season. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see the deployment. Because, yeah, this is a player with just infinite talent. It's the guy's amazing out there. Anyways, enough Philly talk. Let's talk about Toronto. Again, 2 games, 1 off night. I think this is the worst set of streamers that we have here. Like we're looking at, Morgan Riley and Matthew Nyes. They're both easy drops to me for the week.
Yeah, obviously Nyes has been pretty good for a lot of the season. Playing pretty consistently with Marner and Matthews on the top line. And so, again, he's got 5 points his last 5 games. He's been productive, but again, it's a similar spot. Maybe it's a case where you try to hang on to the Nyes through the Wednesday, but again, it depends so much to me. If I can drop Nyes and I can get in a Monday, Tuesday guy from the Calgary and Nashville teams who's actually somebody I'm interested in, like you might be able to equal Nyes' production with one move right away and still open up that spot for later in the week that you need to open up anyway, regardless. Like, there's just a lot of ways in which it makes sense to potentially drop somebody, even somebody who's performing pretty well.
Yep, that makes total sense to me. Let's move on to another set of teams here that have 3 games with 0 off nights. So they play the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And those teams are Anaheim, Edmonton, the LA Kings, San Jose Sharks, St. Louis Blues, Tampa Bay Lightning, Utah Hockey Club, and the Winnipeg Jets. So again, 3 games, 0 off nights. It's not that big a deal. The only day we're really looking to avoid is that busy Saturday, right? So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. You don't have to go out and drop these guys the same way that I think you could be dropping these 2-game players, right? So let's start in Anaheim here. Buddy, talk to me about Frank Vatrano. What are your feelings about Frank the Tank Vatrano right now?
So I have Vatrano and Tyrone Kakufel, and he's been a good part of my team's success. All the off nights in Anaheim, always playing games for me. Has had a solid season. Puts up a lot of peripherals, all the rest of it. The last 5 games, he has 0 points. He's working on another nothing burger here tonight. Meanwhile, Leo Carlson has 4 points, and that's a player that I could have added this week and didn't. And so I'm just a little bit steamed about what Frank Vatrano is bringing to the table these days. I'm sure it'll come out that he's like playing through some horrific injury, and then I'll feel terrible about saying this. But at this moment in time, I'm very angry with Frank Vatrano. Yeah, there's a lot of guys like it's hard to parse Anaheim in general, right? Obviously, I like Troy Terry a lot. He's 5th in shots per 60 over the last 5 games, but only has 2 points to show for it. Yeah, just wild stuff. McTavish has terrific underlying stats as well. Leo Carlson is absolutely popping off over the last little bit. The underlying stats are starting to go in the right direction there, but still aren't like incredible. Yeah, it's an interesting spot with all these guys, but again, are you trusting a Greg Cronin-led Anaheim team to continue what you're seeing on this particular week? Are you really gonna say that they're gonna come back next week and they're gonna absolutely pop off? The one thing they do have going for them: San Jose, Calgary, Vancouver next week. It's not the most difficult schedule known to man. So there is that part to look at as well. But I don't think there's anybody on Anaheim that I'm like, no, there's no way I can drop this guy this week. Maybe Radko Gudas in a Bangers League, but that's about it.
Yep, agree there. Let's move over to Edmonton. Again, 3 games, 0 off nights. We got Zachariah Hyman. We got RNH, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Matthias Ekholm, Wallman, and Jeff Skinner. I think Ekholm, Wallman, Skinner, those guys are easy drops to me if it makes sense for your team. I'm not dropping Hyman, especially with what he's doing right now. The guy's popping off. He's finally, get McDavid out of here, get Draisaitl out of here. We got Hyman, all right? And he's doing stuff. Well, he's basically the only one doing stuff for the Oilers right now with those 2 players out. So I think I'm keeping Hyman. RNH to me, I don't know. He's a bubble guy for me. If you're dropping RNH, it depends on the ad, in my opinion. I don't know where you at.
Yeah, I think I'm in line with you there. Hyman finally starting to put things into gear here. First in the league in individual scoring chances 4 per 60 over the last 5 games. That's a nice note there. 5 goals, 7 points in the last 5 games too. So he's actually putting the puck in the net too. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has also had a good little run here. Underlying stats are looking hot for him as well. Realistically, the underlying stats look pretty good for a lot of the Edmonton players, but I tend to agree. Hyman, you can't move off of. Nugent-Hopkins, I agree. It depends who you're moving off of him for. It depends if he is like that guy who's going to sit for you on 1 or 2 of these heavy nights where he might not be, where you might be full or over full. And then Ekholm, Wallman, Skinner, I agree. I'm ready to punt those guys.
There you go. Bye-bye, boys. Let's move over to LA, the LA Kings. And we're looking at players like Kopitar, right? Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty, Quentin Byfield, all guys that are doing relatively decent at the moment, right? I don't think you need to get off these players, but again, like these guys are sort of in the RNH category to me. It's like, who are you picking up that's going to be better than Anze Kopitar, right? Like he's getting good minutes. Drew Doughty's getting good minutes. Byfield's getting good minutes. Like, what are your thoughts on these Kings here, Nate?
Yeah, I think I might take RNH over Kopitar at the moment. Kopitar's down to 17, just over 17 minutes average time on ice over the last little bit, while Byfield's up just over 18. So Byfield's kind of taken over as the 1C, as we've talked about a little bit here and there. Like on Byfield's underlying numbers are better than Kopitar's, both the on-ice stuff and the individual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Byfield is the one that I feel the least likely to give up on at this point. Kopitar, if week 24 is your finals and Kopitar is a guy that is on the bubble for you and you're thinking about sitting him on Saturday and the rest of it, and you can get 4 games of somebody from Minnesota or somebody like that, I would say that Kopitar is absolutely in play. Like, I would drop Anze Kopitar for Matt Zuccarello tomorrow if Zuccarello was out there.
It shouldn't even be a question. All right, you get the zucchini man on your roster and you make a delicious loaf. All right. Why? Who thought to put zucchini in a bread loaf? You know what I'm saying? Have you ever had a zucchini loaf? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know who made that decision, but it was a terrible decision.
I mean, yeah, is this like one of those parents who are like, my kid doesn't eat enough vegetables? Like, put the zucchini in the chocolate cake. But I don't know why I'm talking like an old woman right now. But anyways, to get yourself some zucchini loaf, it's someone fluked out big time and it actually tastes delicious. All right, let's move on. San Jose Sharks, next team here. We got Macklin Celebrini. This kid's a stud. Celebrini is a unit. We got Tyler Toffoli. Oh, I feel kind of bad. I had a DM with somebody, and they're like, who do you think from San Jose, Eklund or Toffoli? I'm like, give me Eklund. Let's go. Right? And then Toffoli just goes nuclear. It's like, oh, man. So sorry about that. Sorry, whoever you are. It's not my best call, but I still like Eklund. He did get a goal, so we'll say that. But anyways, you got Celebrini, you got Toffoli, you got Eklund, you got Will Smith, who's been doing pretty damn well as well. I mean, the Sharks, it's not great. Obviously, if you're in week 25, the Sharks have a good schedule finally. But what are you doing with these guys here? Obviously, I think Celebrini we're trying to hold, like, no question. It's sort of the other players there, those fringe players.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely trying to hang on to Celebrini if I can. Toffoli, I would like to. Yeah, it is weird because the lines are a little bit changed from where they were. Like, Toffoli used to be stapled to Celebrini. Now Celebrini's playing with Eklund and Smith at even strength. All 4 of these guys are on the top power play unit, along with Luca Cagnoni on the back end, which is a fun development. I think that I would be doing my best to hang on to Toffoli and Eklund and Smith. I just think these guys are pretty electric and feeling it at the moment. Like, they're just going out there and having fun. They know the season is over. They've got the Ducks and the Kraken sandwiched around the Oilers in the middle of the week. Like, they have a couple of nice games here where they could rack up some goals. Yeah, I would actually be trying to hang on to these guys. Can you drop them if you need to? Absolutely, you can. Like, you can make that drop. Would I drop all of these guys outside of Celebrini for Zuccarello, as we mentioned before? Absolutely, I would. But yeah, these are guys that I'm actually like feeling some type of way about dropping.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I've seen that over a couple of years now, as these teams that are out of the playoffs, but I mean, they have good young talent. Like, think about, Arizona last year or a couple of years ago. Like, they're just loose. They're playing for fun and they're having a good time. And this team really fits that bill. They got some really nice pieces here. So anyways, shout out to the Sharks. Let's move on to St. Louis. And these are going to be some tough drops. I mean, Dylan Holloway, what is this man doing right now? My God. I mean, 8 points in the last 5. Metrics look good. His IPP is insane. He's on a 69-point pace. Nice. Freaking nice, buddy. Jeez. I don't know. I love what Holloway's doing right now. You got Justin Falk. You got Pavel Buchnevich, who's coming back to the lineup on Saturday here, so he'll be back in play. Braden Shen, Jake Neighbors. I mean, what are you doing with Holloway specifically? Because I think this he's on another level right now.
Yeah, you absolutely can't drop Dylan Holloway with what he's been putting on paper and out on the ice in the last little bit here. The other guys are much more of a conversation. The Falks, the Buchneviches, the Shens. Neighbors is an obvious drop in my opinion. Shen, I think, is a drop as well. Buchnevich, I think, is a drop. Falk, you can make the argument. It really depends on who you're getting instead of Falk. I think he's a little bit more of a bubble guy, especially if he is occupying that fourth D slot and you're not really getting somebody who you're like confident in.
Yeah.
Defenseman waiver wires are usually pretty barren at this time of year. So if there is somebody out there who is pretty compelling, then you could think about it. But most likely, Justin Falk, he's just sitting in your fourth defenseman slot and he's going to be fine. So that's probably where I'm at with these guys.
Yep, agree wholeheartedly. Let's move over to Tampa Bay. Anthony Cirelli and the jerk store Oliver Bjorkstrand. What say you? Are we holding these guys through this week?
No, I don't think so. I mean, both of them are doing pretty good. Cirelli's got 4 goals, 5 points in the last 5 games. Bjorkstrand has 2 goals, 4 points in the last 5 games. Obviously, Tampa had that huge pop-off game the other night against Utah. That's obviously playing into some of this here, but I think both of these guys are kind of in that range where I really would not feel bad at all about moving on from them. Probably guys that are below the line to start on your heavy Saturday and maybe on one of the other days if you happen to have more players playing on one of those other heavy nights. So I would not feel bad about dropping either or both of these players.
Yep, there's going to be way better options for you this week here. Over to Utah, these are going to be some interesting decisions here. Dylan Guenther, Logan Cooley, Nicky Schmaltz, Sean Dursey, and Barrett Hayton. Obviously, the wheels are falling off a little bit there in Utah. It's sad to see actually because this is one of the funnest teams and they were on that bubble. They were on the kind of the wild card bubble, and then the wheels are falling off. So what do we do with these guys? Do you think they can turn it around? Especially a player like Dylan Guenther. This is a guy that obviously we're pretty high on. The metrics look really good, especially on the season. Dear God. What are you doing with these the Utah Hockey Club members here?
Yeah, it is one of the tougher teams to decide what to do with. Like, Cooley still has 5 points in the last 5. Schmaltz has 4 in the last 5. Gunther's got a couple of goals, but no assists. He's down at 16.5 average time on ice, which is hurting him a little bit. 85th shots per 60, 32nd shot attempts per 60, but 208th in individual scoring chances, 4 per 60. He feels pretty reliant on the power play at this point in time with Cooley, Schmaltz, and Keller all on the top line together. Guenther is not getting the benefit of even strength line mates the way those guys are. And so that is tough. I think these guys are in play to be dropped this week. I wouldn't feel good about it. It's kind of similar vein to what I talked about with the second tier San Jose guys. I feel somewhat similarly to these guys for this particular week upcoming. And yeah, it is one of those situations where you look at the week that they just had and you're like, hey, they're going to go play Calgary, Los Angeles, and Winnipeg. How many goals do we realistically think they're going to put up in that week after the week that they just had where they got absolutely beaten up by some better teams, frankly? It's going to be a bit of a tough road to hoe, and that's got me thinking twice about how much I think these guys are going to put out for me in this 1 week where it means so much.
It's a great point. Yeah, the killer's row there in terms of defensive environments that they're about to face. So yeah, that makes total sense to me. Last team, Winnipeg here. We're looking at Mom Spaghetti, Cole Perfetti, who I think is going to be an easy drop, and then Luke Shen in Bangers Leagues if you're interested there. But I mean, I don't know. Like I'm dropping both those guys. What about you, Nate?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sweet. All right, buddy. We're long in the tooth here, but we got to get to cross those streams. We got to do it. All right. This is the best teams to stream. And I like to do my thing here, crossing the streams. I've got many anecdotes to share, and then I'll share one with you right now. Nate, first off, I think we got to talk about some crossing the streams etiquette here, okay? Because there was a major red flag recently that we need to address, okay? So I am going to blow you up a little bit here, it's just in front of our audience here, okay? So the other night I go over to Nate's house to pick him up, right? We, for those that don't know, Nate and we do Dungeons and Dragons in a club on Tuesday nights. Okay, we like to play Dungeons and Dragons, really fun. And the fun part about the club is we do cosplay. All right, Nate. I mean, I don't know. I hope I'm not embarrassing you here, buddy, but we do cosplay, right? It's a lot of fun, good, clean fun. Okay, right, Nate?
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. So anyways, I'm dressed as a level 9 wizard, okay? And Nate is a level 10 fighter with a very special bedazzled cod piece that he got off of eBay, all right? It's first off, it's huge, okay? It's giant cod piece. It's very ornate. It
Thanks
represents
for
Nate.
clarifying that.
Yeah, it represents Nate beautifully. And I should mention Nate's Dungeons and Dragons name is the Hammer, okay? For obvious reasons. So I'm picking him up, right? I show up at the door. I'm fully decked out of my gear. I got a wand and everything, right? I'm feeling good. It's our Tuesday tradition. One of the things we do before we go out, we cross the streams, right? It's, as you do with your friends. And so I get there. I knock on the door. Nate yells, "Come on in." Okay, so I let myself in, and I open the door, and I see the bathroom door closed, and I hear what sounds like the world's longest pee is going on in there, right? It sounded like Niagara Falls. I don't know what was happening. I don't know what you drank. But anyways, I was a little put off right off the bat because first off, how are we supposed to cross the streams when you emptied the tank, Nate? Okay. There's we can't do it. Right. So anyways, he comes out, he sees the disappointment on my face. And you remember this, Nate, you suggested we fill one of your hockey water bottles because you can get a kind of a good squeeze on that. And you get a nice pressure. Anyways, we put yellow Gatorade in there just to simulate. Right. But to get the right vibe, he had to put it inside his pants and out the zipper. What are we doing? Oh God. Okay. So anyways, the bottle's in the pants outside the zipper, right? And we count down 1, 2, 3. Okay. Squeezes it. Yeah, I should say he had to take the cod piece off, right? This thing's huge. It's like a fishbowl, basically. Anyways, at this point, I just wanted to get it done so we could go. Okay, so we're about to go into the dungeon, right, at the thing, and I needed to get my wits about me. I wanted to do this, so we agree. We start going. Things are going along fine, and I just wanted to adjust my stance. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm a bit fidgety, so I adjust my stance, take a step back, and Nate had a TV remote on the ground. I guess he didn't clean up the area. I don't know what was happening there, but I step on this TV remote. And I inadvertently stepped on the button, and all of a sudden, his TV jumps on. It's at full volume. It's the movie Wicked. All right. Just going crazy at full volume, right? So I was startled, but Nate was insanely startled, right? He swung around so close, like we almost touched tips, right? Which is a problem, right? We don't want to do that. It's just not part of the ritual, right? We'll rule that out. But long story short, the Gatorade sprayed in my face, full blast. I fell over onto Nate's Back to the Future box set. He has that. He loves it. It's a great movie. Really big fan of the 80s movies. So, I crushed it accidentally. I'm going to have to pay you back for that, Nate. But I ended up peeing all over my magical blue boots, okay, of Elvendal, right? Those are the special boots I received. Nate then tripped on the boots. This giant codpiece flew in the air, struck me in the nose. Okay? It wasn't our finest moment, folks. Okay. And I haven't fully processed it, to be honest with you, but I just thought it would be a good time to talk to you about this, Nate. Just please, moving forward, let's plan our peas better. Okay. And make sure our floors are clear of debris. All right. Is that too much to ask, Nate?
No, I think I think it's a reasonable ask. But yeah, I'm just surprised that you're still standing after taking that blow from the codpiece because
Oh man,
it is pretty hefty.
Yeah, it is. It's like stainless steel. I don't know. But yeah, it's thick too. I might have been knocked out. I might have lost consciousness for a second. I don't know. I woke up, there was pee everywhere. Anyways, yes. I mean, again, hit us up in the comments. Maybe we could do a pod where you're dressed as I'll dress as the wizard, you dress as the fighter, right, with the cod piece. We can do that. All right. We have the tools and we have the talent. Anyways, Nate, I'm sorry about this. We got to talk about the best teams to stream, folks. Okay. Yeah. And we got one. We got a team that's pretty damn good, the Minnesota Wild. Okay. They play 4 games, all in the off nights: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Can't do better than that. So they have some options too, right? We got the Zucchini Man, right? He's eating a whole loaf. He's getting out there. He's getting the biz. He's only 50% rostered. So he's out there. Like I said, I've dropped him. I've dropped him in a couple spots just to maximize games because they only have 1 left this week. So, I'm just living to fight another day. I'm trying to get to week 24, but if he's out there, pick him up, right? I think that's an auto ad. He's the best of the options from Minnesota, in my opinion. And then after that, we're looking at guys like Marco Rossi. Jake Middleton. Is his first name Jake? I know a guy named Brent Middleton, and I keep wanting to say Brent Middleton, but it's not Brent. It's Jake, right?
It is Jake.
Right out. All right. Jared Spurgeon. All right. He could use the cod piece. I actually Googled cod piece. I'm like, am I using this properly?
You're going to get some funny ads.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's fine. All right. I have incognito mode. I don't know whether that may be. Jared Spurgeon, spurging everywhere. He was power play 1 before they ran this 5-forward power play. So he's kind of in the mix there. Ryan Hartman, Gus Nyquist, and Marcus Foligno for bangers. Who do you like besides Zuccarello there? Like who would you prioritize in Minnesota?
Yeah, I think it's still Rossi, right? Like, who else are you really going to go with over Rossi? He's still, like, the one thing that has felt pretty consistent is that Rossi's playing with Boldy pretty much all the time. And obviously, that's about as good as it gets. He's on the top power play. He's playing with Boldy at even strength. That seems to be a duo that they want to keep going. So I think Rossi makes sense as the next guy up there. I did have some love for Hartman, but now, yeah, off the top power play, he's kind of thrown up some nothing burgers this week. The underlying stats are fine, but it's nothing to write home about. In this last game, he was playing with Nyquist and Foligno, which is like,
yeah,
it's a bit icky at this point. So yeah, Nyquist, I thought maybe he could find some chemistry with Boldy, like as a kind of a setup guy, and Boldy as the trigger man, but it doesn't really seem like that's been a thing. They've tried him a couple times with Boldy, and it's never really worked out. Now I think he's kind of destined to be a bottom sixer. So that hasn't really worked out. Middleton, Spurgeon. Middleton's more for the blocks that he'll give you. Spurgeon does that as well, but Spurgeon has a little bit more offensive upside, as much as anybody in Minnesota does at this point. Foligno's just there for the bangs. So that's about it. I think it's Rossi for sure, and then it is still Hartman as the next guy up, but then after that, it really does start to fall off a cliff.
Yep, makes sense. I mean, teams are going to be so surprised when Cap and Jeet come back and be like, whoa, this team can actually score goals? What the hell? Like, these guys are treading water. They're doing it pretty masterfully as well. I mean, Gustafson's been playing well. These guys have been locking it down, doing what they need to do to get wins. So it's not great for fantasy, but I don't know, whatever. They don't care. All right, let's move over to Washington is the next team with a great schedule. They play 4 games with 3 off nights. They play Tuesday, Wednesday, back-to-back. Then they play Friday, Sunday. So pretty nice stuff there for them. And again, some decent streamers. You got Connor McMichael, Magic Mike. He's pretty damn good, this kid. I mean, 3 points in the last 5 games, 62-point pace on the year. Obviously, he was hot at the beginning of the year, but he really kind of opened our eyes, didn't he, Nate? That he's going to be a true player for this team. And I think that he's an absolutely fine ad. He's 51% rostered over on Yahoo, so he's out there. I think he's a great ad. You got Matt Roy for Bangers Leagues. You got Martin for Hervari for He's also there for Bangers Leagues. Any notes at all on Washington, like players you might be interested in besides these players?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty slim pickings. Protas has been picked up pretty much everywhere at this point. It feels like he was kind of the streamer with the bullet for a long time that we had there. So, yeah, I will note Matt Roy's underlying stats looking pretty good. He's got 3 points in the last 5, averaging just under 20 minutes a night, 28th in shots per 60, 32nd in individual scoring chances for per 60 in this stretch. So that's a look for sure.
Yep, absolutely. That's your Washington Capitals. Bands to make good dance. Bands to make good dance. You ever see that? What they do? That's what Ovi does with Jacob Chikrin when he goes on. I like what's going on over there. Ovi is such a legend. Like how do you not like that guy? He's just such a funny guy. And then he like the other night when he calls the team back out to say bye to Marc-Andre Fleury, like what a freaking legend. This guy, I remember when they won the cup and I was just like, he was one of the funniest guys I've ever seen to win the cup, like doing, keg stands and stuff like that. The guy's just an absolute beaut. So I hope he breaks the record this year. That would be so epic. Anyways, shout out to him. Let's move on to another team here. We have 4 teams that play 4 games with 2 off nights, and they are the Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars, Florida Panthers, and the Nashville Predators. Let's start in Colorado, and this was one of the teams that I mentioned that play 3 games in the first 4 nights. So I like that. Especially when you got guys like Jonathan Drouin and Ross Colton out there that are both, been pretty reasonable as of late. Colton with 3 assists in the last 5. Jonathan Drouin with that line 1 power play 1, 7 points in the last 5. What do you think about these Avs here?
Yeah, Colton's a bit more of a bangers option because he hits so much, but you always have the chance of some offensive production with Colton because he is a pretty good per minute guy. Drouin has 7 points in his last 5 games. As of the time of this recording, he is on line one, power play one. Bound to change at some point throughout the
Never.
week next week, but yeah, definitely a really solid option as of this recording.
Yeah, and I love that. Like I said, 3 games in 4 nights, then jump over to a Friday, Sunday. You're cooking. Now you're cooking with gas. And that's how you do things. All right. That's delicious. I don't know where I'm going with that. All right. Oh, Dallas. Let's talk about Dallas. 4 games in 2 nights. 4 games in 2 off nights as well. They play Monday, Thursday, and then Saturday, Sunday back to back. You got it's slim pickings there. Mason Marchment, who's definitely can do stuff. He's a great player. He's had a good year here. And then I don't know if you want a beefer option, Liam Bichelle. This guy's a mega beefer. He does that. So I don't know. I mean, is there anybody else on Dallas that's kind of tickling your fancy, Nate?
No, not really. Like, if you look at the top nine, the only other player who's widely available is Evgeny Dodonov, and he's been deathly quiet the last little bit. Like, multiple games with no shots at all. So, yeah, that's a tough look there. So it's really just Marchment, who does have 4 points in the last 5 games. He's been pretty solid. And then, yeah, Bichelle for the hits in a bangers league.
Have you heard anything about Tyler Seguin? I feel like I read something about him recently. I'm just trying to look it up right now, but I mean,
Yeah, he's been working his way back, but I'm pretty sure the cap situation is such that there's no way he can play before playoffs with Rantanen in the fold now. So I don't think there's any chance that we get Sagan back at any point.
cool. Enough said there. Let's move over to Florida. We got Mackie Samoskevich. This guy's viable. He's great. I picked him up in 2 spots for the Friday Sunday here this week. He's still power play 1. Even with Marchand there, they played Mackie Samoskevich on power play 1. They kept the lines the same and they just inserted Marchand on power play 2. So I think this guy's a dunk for sure. If you can pick up a Florida player, he's good to go. You also got Anton Lundell out there. I mean, what are your thoughts on Mackie Samoskevich and his kind of viability rest of season? Do you think he holds on to power play 1 and keeps getting this deployment?
Probably not. I mean, he's already starting to go cold. He's only got 2 assists now in the last 5 games. The underlying stats are starting to kind of trend downward for him at this point. So I think there's probably just a natural kind of ebb and flow situation happening with him here. And like, I mean, Brad Marchand, people are talking about his Hall of Fame candidacy, right? Simiskevich is a rookie in this league, playing well, but it's not going to take too much for Paul Maurice to look down the bench and be like, hey, maybe I should put out the guy who has a Hall of Fame resume. So I think that there's a pretty good chance at some point that we get Marchand on power play 1. But until then, I'm pretty happy to run with Samoskevich. Lundell is just a deep league option. 1 goal in his last 5 games here. Nothing to speak of in the underlying stats.
Samoskevich is pretty good beefer too. He does that. He hits, he blocks, he Julians. He does it all. All right. He blends. And yeah, that's doesn't work. All right. Let's move over to the Nashville Predators here. They've had a horrible year. That's pretty obvious. But we still got some decent pieces here, right? We got bits and pieces. We got Brady Shea. We got Ryan O'Reilly, the bunt cake Michael Bunting. And how about Luke Evangelista? I didn't even realize this guy was popping off to the level that he is, but 6 points in 5 games? What? I mean, this is a player. I remember talking to Corey Schneider 2 years ago now, and he was like, yeah, Luke Evangelista, that's a player I'm really interested in for the upcoming season. And he just never got the minutes, but this is a guy that's playing, 15 and a half minutes over the last 5 games. That's not terrible. I'm low-key interested. I mean, in a week like this, I don't think I'm going that way, but that's a player of interest for sure. And then Nick Blankenberg has been getting power play 1 minutes there with Nashville. So talk to me about the Predators and if any of these guys are interesting for you in this upcoming week, especially for that Monday, Tuesday back-to-back.
Yeah, Evangelista is the guy with a bullet for sure. In this last game, he played on the top line with O'Reilly and Forsberg, 17 and a half minutes. So that's a big up for him if he's able to continue on in that role. Obviously, a bit of a big if. Nothing seems to be sacred in Nashville this year for sure. Yeah, I think Evangelista is really good look. O'Reilly is a look. He's been very cold over the last little bit, but that could turn around in pretty short order. Brady Shea has actually decent underlying numbers, like 17th in shots per 60, 24 minutes a night. So there is that. And then Blankenberg, as you mentioned, is the guy on power play 1 and getting 22 minutes a night. He doesn't have much to show for it, though, and I wouldn't necessarily expect that to get much better. And then Bunting for deep leagues only. I would say he's got a couple goals, 3 points in his last 15 and a half minutes time on ice, in the 100s in all of his advanced stat ranks. So at least a viable option in deeper leagues, 14 team plus kind of leagues, but definitely not somebody you're going to get excited about.
Yeah, probably a lot better options available to you out there. All right, let's move on to the next team that we like, Chicago Blackhawks. 3 games, all on the off nights. When the hell do the Blackhawks play? They play Wednesday, Friday, Sundays, same as week 23. So, you can get a back-to-back in, Calgary and Nashville, then flip over to Chicago and get, how about this guy, Ryan Donato? Is he available in your league? Because he shouldn't be. Damn. Guy just popped for a Hattie here on Friday night. Beautiful stuff. I think he's a must-roster player with these kind of off nights. Like, there's no way that Donato should be on your waivers at this point, in my opinion. We also got Toivo Teravainen. We got Tyler Bertuzzi, the pickle Alex Vlasic, who's not even getting power play 2 anymore. That stinks. But I don't know. He's good at blocking. He's kind of like a Mike Matheson, a mini Mike Matheson, maybe. That's how I'll describe him. Connor Murphy, good beefer. Artem Levshunov is getting power play 1. Frank Nazar. I mean, anybody talk to me about Donato first. Is that a guy that you're rostering no matter what, or do you think there's even better options that we've talked about already?
Yeah. I think Donato is a big time target for this week. A guy that you should definitely have on your roster. Like, going back to just comparing, like, Donato only has the 3 games. But I would take him over everybody not named Marco Rossi, even with the 3 games versus 4 games there. So I think that is a pretty good look. They kind of moved the lines around a little bit here again. And so, as of right now, it was Donato with Bedard and Mikheyev, and then it was a Teravainen, Bertuzzi, Nazar line as the other kind of quote-unquote scoring line that they had going. It was still Teravainen, Bertuzzi, Donato, Bedard on the top power play, which has been the top power play for a while now, and then Levshunov on the back end. So, yeah, I think that you've got some options here. I mean, Bertuzzi has 5 points in his last 5 games. The underlying numbers suggest that that's a bit of a mirage, but you also have Teravainen with 4 assists in his last 5. I feel a little bit more comfortable with Teravainen, but he could also go quiet. I mean, any of these guys could.
Yeah.
It's Chicago, so there is that element to it. I think I'd go Donato, and then I think it's a bit of a toss-up, honestly, between Teravainen and Bertuzzi. Maybe I go Bertuzzi just because he's got a few more goals, a few more points over the last little bit. But I could be convinced in the other direction as well. Amongst the defensemen, Vlasic and Murphy. Murphy is a bit of a bangers guy, no points to speak of in the last little bit. Vlasic gets blocks, but not much else, just kind of big minutes. And then Lev Shunov kind of has the best underlying stats, obviously, because he's the one getting the power play time. So Lev Shunov is the guy I'd like to go here. Murphy, if you got bangers.
There you go. Yeah, it's Chicago, another one of those teams. I mean, the vibes aren't high there, but they're putting up some random offense. Like Ryan Donato, this guy came out of nowhere this year. This is an amazing player. We didn't project Ryan Donato, did we? No. No, there's no way. I don't even know if he was on the opening night roster. Was he? Do you remember?
I don't remember that off the
Good
top of
Lord.
my head.
No. Yeah. All right. Well, shout out to him. The man's a legend. All right. Let's move on to a bunch of teams here that play 4 games with 1 off night. Boston, Calgary, Columbus, Ottawa, and Vegas. So I'm going to rip through some of these, Nate. I want to do some rapid fire with you because I want to get the biz on some of your dream streams here. So starting with Boston, obviously this was a team we were off of all week here because of their terrible schedule. Well, now we can get back on, right? We're looking at players like Elias Lindholm, Connor Geeky, Morgan Geeky, not Connor. Connor too. Sure, pick him up. No, don't pick him up. But yeah, Morgan Geeky, the Geekster's popping off right now. Pavel Zacha. Low ride, take it easy. You ever heard that song?
No.
You ever seen Dazed and Confused, Nate?
No.
We're gonna have to end the podcast. All right, I'm sorry. No, that's enough. Goodbye, everybody. No, we never do that. But you should watch that movie, Nate. Okay, so talk to me about the Boston Bruins. This is a team that we left for dead this week because of their horrible schedule, but now we're back on. And are we just looking at power play one guys and that's it?
That's pretty much it. Yeah. So right now the power play is Lindholm, Pasternak, Middlestat, Geeky, Lohrei on the back end. Lohrei has gone very quiet. It's been very disappointing after he had such a promising kind of first 5-10 games there with the new role with McAvoy out. They did kind of mess with the lines again. So Pasternak was with Middlestat and Kuznetsov, which is a weird look there, leaving Geeky with Saka and Lysell. Don't love that for Geeky, but he has been able to produce through it so far. He's clearly like far and away the best of this group in my mind. So I would be pretty interested in Geeky. Lindholm and Zaka, you would have to I don't know, like physically move my hand and click the button for me to
you'd
add
be
them
doing
to
it
my
under
roster.
duress. Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's move on from them. Also, another team that is really not inspiring at all, Calgary Flames. I mean, unless you have Jonathan Huberdeau or Nazem Kadri, what the hell are these gotten into these men? But I mean, we're looking at Blake the Snake Coleman, the Popsicle Martin Pospisil, Banger League beauty. He's there. Matt Coronado, who I actually do like. I've liked all three players so far, and I talked to Yang on this team. But Matt Coronado is a guy I'm definitely interested in, certainly for the back-to-back to start the week. Mikael Backlund, if he's out there. The Tinkly Winkly Man, Morgan Frost, and Connor Zary. Obviously, we have to see what the hell's going on with his injury. But any interest at all in these Flames, considering the back-to-back?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have interest just for the back-to-back. I think realistically, it's kind of a similar thing, right? You're just with these teams, you're looking at the top power play, who's on there right now: Kadri, Huberdeau, Frost, Coronado, Uyghur on the back end. Huberdeau, Frost, Coronado is also a line, and so that's of interest. Coleman kind of does a whole bunch of peripheral stuff, but doesn't do a whole lot else. Realistically, I think Coronado is the guy that I'm most interested in at the moment, best underlying stats. And then I guess you could convince me on Frost or Coleman if I had a really deep league, like a 14-team plus league.
The Tinkly Winkly Man. I wonder what he'll do next year. I don't know. Another 35-point season, buddy. Thank you for your service. The guy's a professional hockey player, and I am talking to a computer screen in my basement. So, yeah, shout out to you, Morgan Frost. Let's move on. Columbus, 4 games, 1 off night. We got to talk about these boys. They just popped for 6 goals tonight, 7, including the shootout winner. I mean, Sean Monahan, this guy's hit the ground running. It's really nice to see, actually. I mean, 3 points in 2 games. Very nice. Good season for him. Really nice season. He's found a home there. We got Adam Fantilli. Boone Jenner popped the hell off tonight. Love that. Bangers leagues. He's amazing. But, I mean, he popped for 3 points tonight, 6 shots, a bunch of other crap. He's a great player. I love Boone Jenner. I always have. We also got Matthew Olivier. What has this guy been doing this year, too? I'm actually surprised to see he has such a low point total because I feel like I've been reading his name a bunch as of late. But 33-point pace. 4 points in his last 5. He's a mega beefer, but he's putting the biscuit in the basket currently. I like that. Voronkov is out there, but he's not doing a damn thing. Really pissing me off. Kent Johnson popped for a goal tonight. Talk to me about the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, so they're basically running the lines that you think they're running. On the power play, it's Jenner, Monahan, Marchenko, Kent Johnson, and then obviously Werenski on the back end. Jenner really popping off is quite exciting, so that's a guy that I would definitely target. Fantilli deserves better and will do better next week. I feel pretty confident about that. Monahan's underlying stats are not great, but as long as he's playing with Marchenko, I think that you feel reasonably confident that he should run into some points in a week like this. Voronkov, I think, is potentially in danger of being moved off. His underlying stats do not look bad. 71st shots per 60, 6th in on-ice Corsi 4 per 60, so he's got some stuff that's happening under the hood, and so maybe Everson is looking at that and saying, hey, it'll come for him. He's just going through a cold stretch. So I'm not like opposed to picking up Voronkov if he gets dropped, as long as he's maintaining that top line role. But as soon as that's gone, you're off of Voronkov. Kent Johnson feels a little bit tougher to click on right now, but as long as you're clicking on Jenner, I think you have to at least consider Johnson as well.
66-point pace for Kent Johnson. This is awesome. Oh man, I love when Evason came here and just let the reins out a little bit. Like, let these guys fly. I love that. This guy's a great offensive player. All right, over to Ottawa again. 4 games, 1 off night. We're looking at Dylan Cousins, Fabian Zetterlund, the Pinto Bean, Shane Pinto, and Ridley Grieg. We caught a little flack in the Discord about our Dylan Cousins take, not being too excited. Do we need to be real excited about Dylan Cousins over here in Ottawa?
I mean, it's a good role for him. It was definitely not one that was guaranteed. And he's found chemistry quickly, which is always a possibility, right?
Yep.
We talk about how not every player, sometimes we go the opposite direction. We get really excited. We think, oh, yeah, he just needed a change of scenery. Now he's ready to pop off. That's rarely exactly the case. But Cousins clearly wanted to be somewhere else. He has he's taken his game to a very different level in Ottawa is basically what I'll say there. Getting power play 1, getting to play with Batherson, which is a good spot for him as well. So yeah, definitely into Cousins for the upcoming week if he's not already rostered. The other guys, like Zetterlund was playing with Stutzla and Giroux, which is a nice little look for him. Don't mind that at all. And obviously, you'll get hits out of Zetterlund as well. His underlying stats look very nice there, too. Shane Pinto, Ridley Grieg, these guys have fallen off in the last little bit here, and with the new arrivals maybe playing a factor in that. I'm not interested in either of them.
Yep. No, I'm with you there. Let's move on to the last team here we want to talk about, the Vegas Golden Knights. We got Pavel Dorofeev. We got Ivan Barbashev. Come on, Bobby. Let's go party. Yeah, I lost it. Braden McNabb for B for Leagues. William Karlsson, he popped for 3 assists tonight on Friday. So this guy could absolutely be viable. If Hurdle's going to miss any more time, I think Karlsson's definitely doing stuff there. Keegan Kolesar, absolute legend. One of my favorites. Nate hates him. And Brett Howden, he's the empty net goal king. Obviously, Dorofeev, I think, is a must roster in a 4-game week. This guy's doing stuff out there. What about the rest?
Yeah, Barbashev getting top line exposure with Eichel and Stone has me very interested in that. Karlsson with the power play 1, also interested in that. That obviously probably has some sort of expiration date as soon as Hurdle's back. I do expect that Hurdle reclaims his spot on the top power play. So realistically, you just have to be aware that that could end very, very soon with Hurdle coming back. Kolesar, banger league option for sure. Howden, underlying stats suggest that this is a bit of a mirage. Feels pretty likely that the 18.6% shooting percentage he's rocking on the season comes back down in a big way soon.
What a beautiful summary, Nate. I appreciate that. We got one more section here I want to talk about before we get into some other stuff here. There are 5 teams that play 3 games with 2 off nights, and we're going to do something fun. We're going to do I'm just going to tell you the team, and you have to pick a streamer from that team that you're interested in. All right, Nate, you ready?
Ready.
All right. This is 3 games and 2 off nights. We're starting with the Carolina Hurricanes. Who are you taking?
From the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm actually going to go with Jackson Blake here. Taylor Hall is a very obvious pick as well, but I'm actually going to go with Jackson Blake. This game here tonight kind of sealed it for me. I'm playing on the top line with Aho Jarvis, still playing on top power play. I'm into it.
Love that. All right. Detroit Red Wings. Who's your Huckleberry?
I think over here, really, there's not a lot to look at. Most of the guys are pretty highly rostered, so you're really looking between Marco Kasper and Simon Edvinsson on the back end. Probably looking at these guys for different roles in your teams, but if you're looking for someone to score a few points, you got to go with Kasper.
Yeah, I like that too. He's a beefer as well.
Yep.
Big time hits, good shots too. So yeah, I'm into that. He's good peripherally. All right, New York Islanders, please. Okay, tell me who you're taking, and don't disappoint me.
It's got to be Kyle Palmieri here.
Oh, there we go. That's good.
Okay. 4 points his last 5, 19 plus minutes a night. He's doing this thing.
Lovely. All right. No one else on the team is valuable as a human being. I'm just kidding. Let's move on. Seattle Kraken. They've released the Kraken. Nate gets 1 shot. Who are you taking from the Kraken?
Yeah, I just want to check if Jared McCann has crossed below the line. He's still at 52%, so I can't go Jared McCann, and so I will go with Jaden Schwartz there.
Ew. All right, that's a choice.
4 goals, 6 points in his last 5 games, 30th in shots per
Okay.
60. That's good enough.
I'm taking Matty Beniers. What are you doing? All right. You're tooting right in Matty Beniers' face. All right. The man has 5 points in 5 games. You don't even give a damn.
He's doing worse than Jaden Schwartz in every discernible metric.
Oh, all right. Yeah, he is actually. That's fine. All right. You got me on this one, Nate. All right. Last team, Vancouver. Give it to me. What do you got?
Yeah, over in Vancouver, I mean, Pia Suter, are we doing this? No,
Maybe.
I
God,
can't do it.
look
Jake
at those
DeBrusk
minutes.
actually has some nice underlying stats. He's getting 19 minutes a night. I'm actually gonna go with Jake DeBrusk on this one.
All right. Wrong. Okay. Dead wrong. Nate and I are in a matchup right now for 5th place in the Experts League, that sounds terrible. We have our own podcast, but he picked up Kiefer Sherwood just to get back at me, just to spite me. And then Kiefer Sherwood pops off for a 3 assist night, 10
It's a
hits.
beautiful thing.
I mean, what the hell? I mean, this is very hurtful. So, anyways, yeah, I think you're right. I'm taking Suter there. I think they don't have anybody else, and he looks good out there. So I'm probably going Suter. But anyways, that's it. Nate, tell us about the Patreon, please.
All right, Patreon $2 tier gets you access to patron-only live shows. The $8 a month tier gets you the patron-only live shows and patron-only Discord channels. Gets you the show notes, including the ones for this show right here and the flagship show on the weekend. It also gets you access to the Apples and Geos player evaluation tool, which you can use to make your important decisions player-wise. $15 a month gets you into the Genos tier for true degenerates only. Gets you all the previous perks mentioned, plus every single question answered, guaranteed. It's getting late, Blake. I'm fading here.
Yeah, we're fading.
But one thing I did want to say, we still have the listener survey ongoing. We're looking to get as many survey responses as we possibly can as we try to craft the content to what the people are looking for. One thing that was just brought up in the listener survey so far that I was able to see, we put out a question: what content would you like to see in the off season? As we're interested in what people want to see there. And the response that I got there was a deep dive on the creators' personal pools, decisions they made, why they made them, how they would have done differently. Learning how they're growing as a manager will help listeners learn from their experiences. We're going to do it. Blake, this is something we do every single year, and it will be coming up shortly after the season, so stay tuned for that. But we would love to hear even more ideas about what we can do that would be helpful for you this off season. All right, Blake, are you ready for some dream streams?
You bet your sweet baby buddy.
All right, let's get it. Up at the top, you got to go with Minnesota. You got to go with Marco Rossi for the 4 games, 4 off nights. I am going to assume, just because it's not easy to make any other delineation, that you're only getting these players in for the off nights. Obviously, if you can get them in on a heavier night, then that vastly changes the player pool that's available to you. But I'm not going to lead you wrong with Marco Rossi. I feel fairly confident about that one. Feel fairly confident about my number 2 being Ryan Donato as well. I feel like these guys are pretty close to a tier together at the top here. Then I go Teuvo Teravainen and Tyler Bertuzzi. Yeah, as I mentioned, back-to-back. You could flip those guys in any order. Ryan Hartman, I'll still throw in here. Still 4 games, still all on the off nights. Still valuable there. Kyle Palmieri, Jonathan Drouin, Taylor Hall, Jaden Schwartz, Tony DeAngelo, all these guys. This is a massive tier after this. I feel like you could go a lot of different ways here. I feel like Palmieri and Drouin, maybe I would classify a tier up from the others, but then after that, I could throw in a dozen other players. I just said that I would take Jackson Blake over Taylor Hall, and I put Taylor Hall in here over Jackson Blake before the game tonight, so you can see how easily these kind of decisions could change down further on the list. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's really good. I like that you got Ryan Donato as number 2 there. I think that makes a lot of sense as a guy that can make a big difference for your team.
All right, best for hits: Marcus Foligno, Yakov Trenin, Nick Foligno, Brandon Duhaime, and Martin Feverhurry. I think that you got to go with the Foligno Bash Bros this week, right, Blake?
You got to. All right, they're going head-to-head. They're smashing each other, and it feels good.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Best for blocks ranked: Jake Middleton, Jared Spurgeon from Minnesota. Both those guys do that. Both those guys give you 4 games this week. Easy play there. Connor Murphy, Martin Feverhurry, and Alex Vlasic are the other options there. All right, we're going to keep speed running. We're getting long in the tooth. Let's head over to Hold Me. And obviously, Blake, at this point, we're not talking about the players anymore because we're all just streaming day to day, week to week at the most. So this is just about goalies and some guys that we might want to think about here. So at top, I still have Merzlikins, Vimelka, Jari, Dostal. I don't feel very confident in ranking these guys right now, especially after the week that was this week. Dostal should get 2 starts in week 24.
Right.
So that's kind of key importance there. Like I said, I don't really feel any type of way about recommending any of these players with confidence. I do think that, Anaheim, as I mentioned, doesn't have a murderer's row next week, so it could actually be a decent spot where they're going to host San Jose, and they're going to go on the road against Vancouver in Dostal's presumptive starts. And so, yeah, I just think that's a decent spot, and I might actually pick him above the others for this particular week. Then going sub 25% rostered, Spencer Knight's still out there. Calvin Pickard, if Stuart Skinner's issue lingers, that might be something you might have to look at and potentially hold your nose. If you are going into week 25, then you might want to consider John Gibson as the other half of the Anaheim tandem. And then Petr Mrazek or Kim Talbot or whoever might be the Detroit goaltender getting volume, we'll add at the bottom of the list here just to say keep an eye out. I'm not saying that it'll be a huge win or anything, but it might be a play that you might want to make. Who's your Huckleberry of the goalies, Blake? Who do you want to highlight?
I mean, these are all kind of gross, but I want to say Elvis Merzlikins, but this man had a horrible game here tonight. Pulled out the dub, but yeah, I'd probably of these I'd choose Elvis Merzlikins, but I do want to quickly shout out Casey DeSmith as well. I think there's a potential that
love Casey DeSmith.
I do. You know what? I read a tweet randomly, and then it just becomes fact in my mind. But head coach there in Dallas says he wants to use Casey DeSmith a little bit more moving forward. So I think there's a chance he gets 2 starts this week, and if he does, you gotta have him. All right, he's the best option of the bunch. Nate, come on, give it to me.
I don't think I could say that confidently, but he is in a good situation. I'll give him that. And nice. You're right. He definitely could get 2 starts next week, which would actually be quite valuable. All right. Last order of business, the head-to-head streamer death match. And Blake, you picked Jason Zucker. He had a 0.5 point night and then did not play in the next game for personal reasons. Has 2 more games left Saturday, Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. I took Kyle Palmieri. He scored 8 points in the first 2 games, a couple points, that is fantasy points, and 2 more to go there. So I've got a lead, but if history has told me anything, it's not to get too confident in the head-to-head streamer deathmatch. Do you have anything you'd like to say for yourself this week, Blake?
No, you know what? I feel fine. I chose 3-game players a couple weeks, and now I got a 3-game Jason Zucker here, so I feel good about this. I'm right in the wheelhouse.
All right. Well, if you made it this far, click the link in the description, join the Discord community, and click the link on the survey and fill that out for us. As I mentioned, like, rate, review, subscribe, comment, whatever you can do for us. We really would appreciate it. But that's going to be all that we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. All the advanced stats you heard today came from Natural Stat Trick, which is a terrific free resource. Many thanks to the band there for supplying music for the podcast. Be sure to check out their Spotify as well. That's it, folks. Much love.